Somewhere in the freezing void between Mars and Jupiter drifts a rock so valuable, it could make every single human on Earth a billionaire. We spend decades building the colossal machines needed to capture it, and we succeed. We drag the asteroid home. The gold arrives. But there are no celebrations. Within days, trillions of dollars vanish. Global markets crash. Governments panic. Entire national economies unravel. Because, as it turns out, finding infinite wealth is the fastest way to destroy it. Turn your telescopes toward the space between Mars and Jupiter, and you won't find the chaotic, tumbling minefields from the movies. The asteroid belt is a serene, profoundly lonely expanse. Stand on the surface of one, and you'd need a telescope just to spot your nearest neighbor. But hidden within this empty ocean of primordial debris drift massive islands of concentrated wealth. M-type asteroids, the exposed, naked cores of dead planets. They are packed with iron, nickel, and platinum. And hidden among these drifting mountains lies the ultimate historical prize: gold. To reach these distant targets, we aren't waiting on theoretical warp drives. We're already forging heavy-lift rockets and solar electric tugs. Imagine pushing a cruise ship across the Pacific using nothing but the pressure from a desk fan. It sounds absurd, but given enough time, ion engines can do exactly that, in the frictionless vacuum of space. The blueprints are ready. Hundreds of autonomous robotic miners harpooning a spinning asteroid, clinging to it like climbers on a runaway boulder. They deploy intense thermal drills, carving out heavy metals in a mechanical ballet of absolute, sterile precision. It replaces the soot-choked, bleeding mines of Earth with the mathematical silence of orbital extraction. We're driven to build these monumental machines out of pure, unavoidable necessity. The Earth's crust is stubbornly finite. We dig deeper into the dirt, burning exponentially more energy to extract lower-grade ores, leaving behind deeply scarred landscapes. Our entire global civilization operates under the crushing weight of material scarcity. Platinum, a vital component in everything from advanced hydrogen fuel cells to life-saving medical gear, is hoarded and metered out in microscopic fractions. Gold, the eternal, non-corrosive anchor of human economics, remains an expensive luxury and a fiercely guarded central bank reserve. Space mining isn't just an industrial expansion. It's the ultimate cosmic gold rush. The grand promise of liberation from Earth's physical limits. Look at the raw mass floating in our solar system, and the numbers completely break our terrestrial intuition. A single metallic asteroid, measuring barely a few hundred meters across, theoretically contains more accessible platinum and gold than humanity has extracted in its entire recorded history. We're looking at individual rocks valued in the quintillions of dollars. We naturally imagine this celestial bounty raining down upon our planet, eliminating resource wars, fueling endless technological revolutions, and ushering in an era of boundless, glittering prosperity. Driven by this utopian vision, rival governments and massive private conglomerates pour staggering capital into the infrastructure of space extraction. The first orbital refineries are assembled in the dark. Grand capture nets are deployed into the void. Humanity successfully executes the greatest engineering feat in its history, catching a golden asteroid and nudging it into a stable orbit around Earth. Return capsules, heavy with pure, unblemished extraterrestrial gold, begin their fiery, triumphant descent through the atmosphere. The world watches, breathless, as the first massive payload touches down. We believe we've finally conquered scarcity. We believe we're infinitely rich. But the universe operates strictly on the laws of physics, while human economies operate strictly on the laws of supply and demand. we instinctively assume that injecting an infinite amount of gold into our civilization will multiply our collective wealth. We're about to learn a terrifying lesson. The catastrophe doesn't begin when the metal hits the ground. It begins the exact moment the orbital trajectory is confirmed. Financial markets are predictive engines. They run on future belief, not present reality. As the heavily burdened return capsules begin their controlled descent through the upper atmosphere, global commodities markets don't celebrate. They freeze. The realization hits like a freight train. The sudden, looming presence of a million-ton payload of pure gold hovering in low Earth orbit instantly shatters the illusion of scarcity. Think of gold like a rare, first-edition Charizard card. It's valuable purely because there are only a few of them in existence. If a factory suddenly prints 10 billion of those cards and drops them from a helicopter, they aren't worth thousands of dollars anymore. They're just shiny litter. The asteroid is that helicopter. Space mining threatens to do to gold exactly what the 19th century did to aluminum. In the 1850s, aluminum was so intensely rare that emperors displayed it beside the crown jewels. Today, we throw it away with our soda cans. By succeeding in our grand engineering endeavor, we're drowning the desert. The economic implosion triggers in cascading, unstoppable waves. The first shockwave annihilates speculative markets. Traders and algorithms initiate a frantic, worldwide sell-off. The price of gold, a graph line that had climbed steadily for centuries, plummets by devastating magnitudes within hours. It falls from thousands of dollars an ounce to hundreds, then to tens, mirroring the trajectory of a rock dropped from a great height. The second, far more destructive wave strikes the absolute bedrock of the global financial system: national reserves. For generations, central banks have hoarded thousands of tons of gold bullion in heavily fortified subterranean vaults. These glittering stacks serve as the ultimate, unshakable collateral for national economies, providing psychological and mathematical backing to the fiat currencies circulating above ground. But as the immense supply of space-mined metal floods the market, that illusion evaporates. Fort Knox goes from being the impenetrable beating heart of the U.S. economy to nothing more than a highly guarded storage unit for heavy yellow paperweights. Nations that relied on the high valuation of their reserves to secure international debt find themselves instantly insolvent. Banks fail. Life savings tied to precious metal indices are wiped out in a single afternoon. Then comes the agonizing paradox for the pioneers of this new frontier. The massive aerospace conglomerates and private consortiums took on astronomical, unprecedented debt to fund their orbital expeditions. They calculated their return on investment using historical, earthbound prices. But the very act of succeeding destroys their profit margin. Every additional ton of metal they drop down the gravity well actively dilutes the value of the cargo they've already delivered. They've engineered a flawless, magnificent machine that rapidly eats its own economic justification for existing. The mining companies go bankrupt. The gold itself hasn't changed. A gold atom forged in the chaotic heart of a dying star and captured in the silent asteroid belt is structurally identical to a gold atom meticulously extracted from a deep vein in South Africa. It still refuses to tarnish. It still conducts electricity with beautiful efficiency. It stands ready to sheath spacecraft in perfect thermal protection and connect the microscopic neural pathways of next-generation quantum computers. Yet, because it's no longer scarce, the economic incentive to harvest it completely vanishes. This is the true civilizational stress test. The catastrophic devaluation destroys the collateral backing countless global loans. Corporations relying on the high price of recycled electronics see their entire supply chains rendered obsolete. Currencies loosely pegged to precious reserves face terrifying instability and hyperinflation. The immense, intricate machinery of global trade abruptly seizes up. But the ruins of the old economic order provide the exact foundation necessary to construct our new reality. To see what happens next, we need to run a thought experiment. The fatal mistake of the asteroid mining crash was directional. We expended monumental effort and energy dragging these heavy, precious elements down into Earth's deep gravity well, simply to lock them away in dark, subterranean vaults. The path to survival is surprisingly elegant in its physical simplicity. We must sever the tether. We stop throwing the metal down to Earth, and instead, we begin building with it directly in the vacuum of space. Picture immense automated orbital foundries operating in perpetual sunlight. In this zero-gravity environment, gold is stripped of its archaic financial mythology and reborn as a supreme utilitarian building material. Instead of locking this metal underground, we unspool it. We weave endless miles of golden silk, wrapping entire space stations in shimmering metallic foil to bounce away the sun's lethal radiation. These factories catch the raw, tumbling ore, melt it using vast arrays of parabolic mirrors, and effortlessly extrude it into hundreds of miles of flawless, highly conductive circuitry. For all of human history, wealth meant owning a larger share of a limited pie. But space changes the equation entirely. In orbit, there is no practical shortage of sunlight, no shortage of vacuum, no shortage of raw material. The winning civilizations are no longer the ones that accumulate resources. They are the ones that transform them the fastest. In a strange way, asteroid mining doesn't make humanity richer because it delivers more gold. It makes humanity richer because it destroys the need for gold to be valuable in the first place. Similarly, platinum undergoes a radical transformation in utility. It ceases to be a microscopic luxury and becomes the vital, abundant engine for our expansion. It serves as the ubiquitous chemical catalyst for a vast network of orbital fuel depots, relentlessly breaking down harvested lunar ice into liquid hydrogen and oxygen to fuel our outbound interplanetary fleets. We trade the passive hoarding of static wealth for the active engineering of a permanent dynamic spacefaring infrastructure. This mechanical shift triggers a profound, mandatory evolution in human society. To survive the permanent devaluation of terrestrial assets, civilization must transition entirely from a scarcity-based economy to a capacity-based economy. Wealth is irrevocably redefined. It's no longer measured by the raw tonnage of heavy elements a nation can physically possess. It's measured by how much solar energy a society can seamlessly capture, how much computational power it can deploy, and what complex machinery it can design. The devastating crash acts as a painful but necessary catalyst, tearing down the restrictive scaffolding of a planetary economy to make room for a boundless, solar system-wide industrial empire. Down on the surface of Earth, the initial trauma of the financial collapse eventually gives way to an era of staggering material abundance. With previously precious metals now virtually free for global industrial application, the manufacturing costs of high-capacity green energy grids, quantum supercomputers, and advanced medical arrays plummet to near zero. The collective standard of living rises dramatically, not through the artificial restriction of capital, but through the ubiquitous, overflowing availability of highly advanced technology. We finally succeed in decoupling human progress from the finite, exhausted crust of our homeworld. In the end, The greatest discovery in the asteroid belt won't be gold at all. It will be a flaw hidden deep inside the human idea of wealth. For thousands of years, we treated value as something buried in the ground, something rare, finite, and worth fighting over. We built empires, fought wars, and chained our entire civilization to the illusion of scarcity. But the moment we become a spacefaring species, that assumption breaks. The universe isn't short on resources. It's only short on imagination. We reached out and touched the stars. And in the process, we discovered that wealth itself was a planetary illusion. And that raises an unsettling question. If scarcity disappears, what exactly makes something valuable? Is wealth the metal we own, or the future we can build with it? Because the answer to that question will determine whether humanity becomes a true solar system civilization or collapses under the weight of its own abundance.